Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're plunging into the world of pixels. That's Pixels, ticker symbol PXE. You shared some really fascinating information about this social Web3 game. It's built on the Ronin Network.
That's right.
And our mission today is basically to unpack what makes this whole digital space tick.
Absolutely. And the materials you provided, they give us a fantastic look at, well, pretty much everything, from the core mechanics, the token economy, future plans, the lot.
Right.
So we're here to pull out those essential insights and hopefully give you a clear understanding of the bigger picture.
Because at first glance, Pixels describes itself as this open-ended world of farming and exploration built one pixel at a time.
Yeah, it sounds quite simple, almost.
Exactly, almost quaint. But as we dig in, I think we'll find there's a surprisingly robust system under the hood.
Definitely.
So let's start right there at the foundation. What exactly is Pixels?
Okay. So at its heart, Pixels is a social, pretty casual Web3 game.
Yeah.
And yeah, it lives on the Ronin Network. You think of it like a vibrant online world. You can farm resources, explore different areas, and get pretty creative with how you build stuff and interact.
Right, like a digital playground, but with a farming angle. Now, the Web3 part, that's key here, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Crucial.
What's their take on putting blockchain into gaming?
Well, Pixels sees Web3, and specifically the Ronin Network, as kind of the ideal setup for where gaming is headed.
Right.
Ronin's whole goal is to be the go-to blockchain for games, basically empowering developers and players in a decentralized way.
Okay.
And Pixels fits right into that.
Yeah.
They really champion the idea of players actually owning their in-game items. Genuine ownership.
So it's not just like buying a cool hat skin for your avatar that lives on their server. You actually own it.
That's the core idea. That's the
Yeah.
fundamental value proposition.
Okay.
Pixels believes this, true ownership is a game changer, gives Web3 games a real competitive edge over the old Web2 models. And they stress that community is absolutely central to how they operate. They're actively using Web3 tech to build features that, well, you just couldn't really do in a traditional online game.
Okay, let's dig into that a bit. These unique features. What are some of the key highlights? Things that make Pixels stand out in the Web3 gaming crowd.
Yeah, good question. Well, for starters, the gameplay itself has a surprising amount of depth.
Oh, really? More than just clicking on crops.
Definitely. It's not just simple farming. There's a whole system for resource gathering, skills you can level up and specialize in, item upgrades to boost your abilities,
Okay.
and a pretty comprehensive play-to-earn economic model that's woven through the whole experience.
Play to earn. Yeah, always a big topic in Web3 games. How does Pixels handle that? What's their approach?
They seem to view it as a kind of ongoing experiment, actually, in designing incentives that work.
It's an experiment.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're constantly tweaking how players can earn value by engaging with the game and contributing. And importantly, they seem pretty transparent about how these mechanics are changing.
Transparency. That's definitely good to hear in the, sometimes murky Web3 world.
Absolutely. They hold weekly Ask Me Anything sessions, AMAs.
Weekly.
Yeah, weekly. Actively asking for and responding to community feedback. That open communication seems like a real plus for them. And they also frame the game itself as this ongoing experiment. You can see that in how often they update. They've pushed out something like 60 updates since 2022.
60? Wow, since 2022.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's pretty rapid development. Shows commitment.
Exactly. It's not just adding bells and whistles. It suggests they're really listening to players and iterating fast. In a space like Web3 gaming, being agile like that is probably a big advantage.
No kidding. 60 updates. It really does sound like they're listening to their players. And speaking of the players, the numbers looked pretty big.
They are significant, yeah. And the community seems to have a real say in the game's direction.
Right.
Stat-wise, as of, February 8th, 2024, they were reporting around 150,000 daily active players.
150K daily? That's substantial.
It is. And they'd integrated with over 90 other Web3 projects by that point. They also mentioned around 166,000 daily active addresses DAA and onboarding over 1 million unique users total.
Wow.
That kind of growth, especially after they moved over to the Ronin Network, is, it's pretty noteworthy.
Those integrations you mentioned, the 90-plus projects, what kind of integrations are we talking about? Mostly other games.
It seems like a mix, potentially enabling things like using NFTs from other projects within Pixels or maybe cross promotions. It hints at a wider interconnected ecosystem.
Okay, interesting. So you've got this game that's constantly changing, very community-focused, big player base, growing fast. Let's talk about the engine driving the economy, the Pixel token.
Right, Pixel.
What's its job in the Pixels universe?
So Pixel is the main utility token, and it's also set up to be the governance token for the whole Pixels ecosystem.
Okay,
It's really the central currency, the economic driver.
gotcha. So practically, how do players use it? What can you actually do with Pixel?
Okay, it has several really key roles. First off, it's the main in-game money for like all sorts of transactions, buying things, trading, etc.
Standard in-game currency function. Makes sense.
Yep. But also, and this is big for NFT folks, any future NFTs that Pixels mints directly, you'll need Pixel to mint them.
Okay. So if they drop new land NFTs or cool collectibles down the line, Pixel is the key.
Precisely. It's also how you get premium stuff like the VIP battle passes.
Right.
And it's needed to join guilds. They're calling that a new social-fi feature.
Social-fi, like social finance.
Yeah, kind of gamifying social interactions. Being part of a guild, participating, could maybe lead to earnings or other rewards. That seems to be the idea.
Interesting angle. What else?
You can also use Pixel to buy what they call quality of life upgrades in the game, things that make playing smoother or more convenient.
Okay.
And then looking further out, the plan is for Pixel to eventually be used for governing a community treasury.
So token holders might get a say in decisions.
That's the long-term vision for the governance side, yeah. Giving players a voice in how things develop.
Okay, Pixel's clearly pretty central. What about the other building blocks? We saw mentions of play to earn, obviously, but also farmland NFTs and this Web3 reputation thing.
Correct. So the play to earn part, like we touched on, that's their approach to Web3 incentives.
Yeah.
They're actively trying to design a system where players get meaningful rewards for their time and effort.
Right. And the farmland NFTs sounded like more than just cosmetic land plots.
They definitely are. Owning land as an NFT gives you unique perks, stuff that goes beyond just, having a space in the game.
Like what?
Owners can actually customize their farms based on how far they've progressed in the game.
Yeah.
It creates this real sense of personalized ownership, a tangible link between your in-game achievements and this NFT you own.
Yeah, I can see how that would really deepen your connection to the game. Okay, now tell me about this Web3 reputation system. That sounded pretty novel.
It is a cool concept. The idea is to build a richer picture of each player by combining their on-chain activity, like what other NFTs they hold, their token balances on the blockchain, with what they actually do inside the game, their actions, their achievements.
Okay. Why? What's the goal?
The objective is to create a more nuanced player profile. So, for instance, someone who holds, say, certain other gaming NFTs in their wallet and is a really active member of a Pixels guild,
Right.
they might get a higher reputation score. And that could potentially unlock exclusive things, maybe special events or rewards in the game.
Huh. That's a really interesting way to bridge your wider Web3 identity with what you do in one specific game.
Exactly. Connects the dots a bit more.
Okay, let's shift to the numbers. Tokenomics. What can you tell us about the Pixel supply and how the first tokens got out there?
Sure. So as of that February 8th, 2024 snapshot, the total maximum supply of Pixel is set at 5 billion tokens.
5 billion. Okay.
And when it first got listed on exchanges, the circulating supply was around 771 million Pixel. There's roughly 15.42% of the total.
Got it. And how are those initial tokens sold or distributed?
Well, Pixels raised $4.8 million through 3 private token sales.
Okay, private rounds.
Yep. And in those sales, they sold 14% of the total Pixel supply. Prices were different across the rounds, $0.005, $0.009, and $0.011 US per Pixel.
So early backers got in at those prices. What about like the general public or the wider community?
Right. So there was also a big chunk allocated to the Binance launch pool.
The launch pool mechanism.
Exactly. 350 million Pixel, which is 7% of the total supply, was put there. That started on February 9th, 2024. It let Binance users earn Pixel by staking other cryptos like BNB or FDUSD.
Okay, so that provides a way for broader distribution. That paints a clear picture of the initial setup. Now, looking ahead the roadmap, what's coming up for Pixels? What have they already ticked off?
They've got a pretty packed roadmap for 2024. And yeah, they've already hit some big milestones.
Like what?
Let's see. Demo launch back in Q4 2021. Then the Farmland NFT mint and the alpha launch in Q1 2022. They launched their Berry token, There was like an earlier in-game currency in Q1 2023.
Okay.
And then the big migration to the Ronin Network, that was Q3 2023.
Right, the Ronin move was pretty key. So yeah, quite a journey from just farming one pixel at a time to this whole ecosystem.
Definitely. It's evolved a lot in a fairly short time.
So what's on deck for the rest of this year, 2024?
Okay, so Q1 2024, the big thing was Chapter 2. That included launching the Pexel token itself, like we discussed, plus introducing guilds and more pet NFT mints.
Okay.
Moving into Q2, they're planning an update called Caverns and Contestable Lands. Also Chapter 3, which is set to bring in a combat system.
Combat. Interesting. Changes the dynamic from pure farming social.
Yeah, potentially adds another layer. And also in Q2, the big one maybe, Realms.
Realms. What's that?
Player-created worlds and universes within pixels.
Whoa, okay. User-generated content on a massive scale. That could be huge for creativity and, well, stickiness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Huge potential there. And it doesn't stop. Q3 is penciled in for Chapter 4, focusing on farm upgrades, maybe some automation features.
Automation, farmers like efficiency.
Exactly. And alongside that, the Realms scripting engine, which sounds like it would let players customize their created worlds even more deeply.
Okay, so even more tools for creators.
Seems like it. Then finally, Q4 2024 is tentatively Chapter 5, themed around generative quests and exploration.
Generative quests,
Right.
like AI-driven or procedurally generated.
The details aren't fully clear, but it suggests dynamic, perhaps endlessly unfolding content.
Sounds like a very ambitious year ahead. Feature-packed. What about the business side? Commercial stuff, partnerships? Who are they working with?
Well, obviously, the Ronin Network is partner number one, right? The game runs on their blockchain.
Foundational, yeah.
And Ronin is specifically built for these kinds of games with player-owned economies. They also have a significant tie-in with Mochaverse.
Mochaverse. Remind me.
It's a broader network focused on Web3 cultural stuff, NFTs, identity. They're integrating their loyalty and reward systems with pixels.
Okay. So that could bring in users from that ecosystem, maybe offer cross-platform perks?
That seems to be the goal, yeah. Tapping into that wider Web3 cultural scene could bring new people to Pixels and offer benefits for users active in both places.
Interesting. And we also saw YGG mentioned Yield Guild games.
Right. YGG, they're a major Web3 gaming guild.
What's their involvement?
They're collaborating with Pixels specifically to help onboard more guilds into the game.
So leveraging YGG's network to bring in organized player groups.
Exactly. Getting more guilds involved is often key to building a really active, vibrant player community and boosting engagement.
Makes sense.
And beyond those big names, like we said earlier, they've integrated with over 90 other Web3 projects in various ways.
90. Yeah, that number keeps sticking out. Really points towards building bridges across the Web3 space.
It definitely shows a strong commitment to being interconnected, not just an isolated game.
Okay. Wow, we've definitely covered a lot of ground here. From the core game, the token, the NFTs, the tech, the roadmap, the partners. Let's try to boil it down. What are the main things you think someone exploring Pixels should really take away?
Okay. I'd say ultimately Pixels is a social Web3 game built on Ronin with a really strong focus on its community and on players actually owning their stuff.
Right, the ownership piece.
Yeah. The gameplay aims to be deep and engaging over time. The Pixel token is absolutely vital to its economy now and potentially its future direction through governance.
And the growth.
And it's shown clear momentum, consistent development, impressive user growth, especially in the Web3 gaming context.
Okay, so for you, our listener, who brought Pixels onto our radar, we really hope this deep dive has given you a solid handle on what this game is all about.
Yeah, the tech underneath, the economic model, where it seems to be heading, hopefully without getting lost in the weeds.
Exactly. And thinking about all this, Pixels focus on community, on letting players build parts of the world, all those integrations with other projects. It leads to a bigger question, maybe something for you to think about after this.
Right. Considering how interconnected Pixels aims to be, what could be the long-term impact of these kinds of gaming ecosystems, not just for Pixels, but for the whole digital landscape?
Yeah, and how might it change your own involvement, your own experiences online?
It's definitely more than just one game. It hints at maybe a different future for how we interact with and even own our digital lives. Something to ponder.